Welcome to another journey back in time to revisit some iconic hits from 1979. Ready? Listen for the hit that became the first video to be aired on MTV. Sit back and drop the needle. 1. Cruel to Be Kind by Nick Lowe. Nick Lowe has always been something of a musical craftsman, witty, heartfelt, and never overly flashy. Cruel to Be Kind perfectly reflects that duality. Released in 1979, it wasn't written to dominate discos. It was a jangly power pop gem about a love that cuts as much as it comforts. Influenced by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes' The Love I Lost, Lowe fused blue-eyed soul with British pub rock, creating something irresistible. The result? His biggest hit. Cruel to Be Kind reached number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 12 in the UK, and top 15 in Canada and Australia, proving heartbreak can be catchy. The quirky music video, famously one of MTV's earliest clips, followed Lowe's real wedding day, offering fans a candid snapshot of the man behind the clever lyrics. Lowe never chased pop superstardom, instead becoming a respected songwriter, producer, and cult favorite. But this single endures because it resonates universally. We all know what it feels like to love someone who doesn't always love gracefully. 2. Ring My Bell by Anita Ward. Anita Ward's Ring My Bell delivered something entirely different, a pure disco fantasy, sparkling with innocence, suggestion, and glittering Studio 54 energy. Yet, its story began far from neon dance floors. Ward was not a club diva chasing fame. She was a Memphis schoolteacher with a gospel background, pursuing music on the side when producer Frederick Knight presented a song originally written for a teenage artist. Knight rewrote the lyrics for a more mature singer, and the result was a track that felt playful, yet inviting, a mix of sweetness and flirtation. Ring My Bell didn't just chart, it exploded. In 1979, the song reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, sat atop the Billboard Disco Top 80, and conquered the US Soul Singles chart. Across the Atlantic, it also reached number 1 on the UK Singles chart, making Ward an international sensation. For someone who expected to continue teaching, it was a Cinderella moment set to disco percussion. Ward never repeated that success. In fact, her music career slowed almost immediately after her breakthrough. Record label issues, artistic direction conflicts, and the sudden collapse of disco culture all played a role. Yet, Ring My Bell refuses to fade. It still rings out at retro-themed nights, wedding receptions, and 70s celebrations because it perfectly embodies the last euphoric gasps of the disco era. 3. You Take My Breath Away by Rex Smith.
And you take my breath away.
If 1979 had a soundtrack for puppy love heartbreak, Rex Smith's You Take My Breath Away would be playing over it. Smith was already known as a Broadway actor and teen idol, but his transition to the pop world began with the made-for-TV film Sooner or Later, where this song served as the emotional hinge. Written by Bruce Hart and Stephen Lawrence, the ballad captures the overwhelming rush of young love, fragile, glittering, and frightening in its intensity.
You take my breath away.
Smith's tender vocals elevated the song into dreaminess, resonating deeply with adolescents and adults alike. The song soared to number 10 on the Billboard Hot 100, hit number 7 on Cashbox, reached number 3 in Canada, and appeared within New Zealand's top 30. It became Smith's defining musical moment, allowing him to pivot briefly from theater to chart pop success. You Take My Breath Away lives on in compilation albums and TV memories, often invoked when revisiting first crushes, slow dances, or prom nights from decades past. 4. Just When I Needed You Most by Randy Van Warmer. Soft rock was a haven for vulnerable hearts in the late 70s, and few songs struck a deeper nerve than Randy Van Warmer's Just When I Needed You Most. Unlike disco glitter, this track was quiet introspection, the sound of a man undone. Van Warmer wrote the song in the aftermath of a difficult breakup, compounded by his car falling apart, a symbol of how everything seems to fail at once when emotions are raw. Recorded in Nashville at Creative Workshop and produced by Del Newman, Van Warmer's fragile vocals floated over tender guitar lines, and a surprising element, an auto harp solo by John Sebastian, formerly of the Lovin' Spoonful, which gave the track a wistful, folk-tinged character. The public felt every word. Just When I Needed You Most climbed to number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100, reached number 1 on the Billboard Adult Contemporary chart, and became a top 10 hit in the UK. It became Van Warmer's biggest and only major mainstream success. As Van Warmer mourned love lost, another group approached love from a different angle, looking at its emotional wreckage through rhythmic momentum. Their hit invited listeners into the driver's seat of recovery, metaphorically and musically.
Left me just when I needed you.
5. Heaven Must Have Sent You by Bonnie Pointer. If funk, Motown, and disco could gather on one dance floor, Bonnie Pointer's version of Heaven Must Have Sent You would be the anthem spinning overhead. After leaving the Pointer Sisters, Bonnie set out on a solo adventure, reimagining the Elgins' 1966 Motown gem into an upbeat symphony infused with lush strings and pulsating percussion. Produced with that signature wall of disco sound, her version sparkled with orchestral flourishes, including the unexpected use of tubular bells, giving the track its celestial shimmer. The transformation worked. Heaven Must Have Sent You peaked at number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming Bonnie's biggest solo success. It also found club life across the Billboard disco charts, with DJs embracing its shuffle rhythm and joyful feel. Although Bonnie didn't score another major US chart hit, the song gave her an identity apart from her sisters and became one of the most replayed late-era disco records. Its uplifting tone still lands in film soundtracks and retro playlists today. 6. Pop Music by M. If you had to capture the late 70s music scene inside a kaleidoscope and give it a pulse, you'd likely wind up with pop music. Released in 1979 by English musician Robin Scott, who performed simply under the name M, the song wasn't just a hit, it was a playful wink at the entire pop industry. Pop music mashed genres in a way that felt futuristic. Disco's heartbeat, new wave's electronic shimmer, and a sly, spoken-style vocal that felt almost like commentary rather than performance. Scott reportedly set out to summarize 25 years of pop evolution in one track, and it worked. The song's simple but hypnotic chorus, New York, London, Paris, Munich, everybody's talking about pop music, was inspired by his travels and the realization that no matter where you went, music was a universal language. The music video, directed by Brian Grant, only amplified the song's quirky charm. Scott appears like a minimalist DJ from some retro future club, surrounded by robotic dancers and oversized mixing gear, giving the song its tongue-in-cheek visual identity. By late 1979, the world had taken notice. Pop music hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and topped charts across Europe, cementing M's place as a true one-hit wonder. 7. Makin' It by David Naughton. Few chart successes arrive as unexpectedly as David Naughton's Makin' It. Before his brief brush with music fame, Naughton was primarily an actor, appearing in commercials and later starring in An American Werewolf in London. Makin' It was created as the theme song for a sitcom of the same name, written by hitmakers Freddie Perrine and Dino Fakaris, the same duo behind Gloria Gaynor's I Will Survive. The show fizzled quickly, but the song did the opposite. Its buoyant rhythm, inspirational hooks, and crisp disco production turned it into an anthem for dancers, dreamers, and anyone feeling the late 70s optimism. Audiences loved it. Makin' It reached number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100 and enjoyed strong airplay across party scenes, roller rinks, and clubs. It later resurfaced in the Bill Murray comedy Meatballs, cementing its place in pop culture. Naughton delivered the track earnestly, but even he seemed surprised that his voice, not his acting, would capture national attention. Yet, like many actors turned singers, Naughton never repeated the magic. Disco's decline, the lack of a follow-up album push, and his return to acting ensured the song lived independently from him. 8. Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles. Few songs carry historical irony quite like this one. Released in 1979 by British duo The Buggles, Video Killed the Radio Star pondered how new media would reshape music, and then became the first video ever aired on MTV on August 1st, 1981, validating its own prophecy. Written by Trevor Horn, Jeff Downes, and Bruce Woolley, the track blended new wave experimentation with retro nostalgia. The lyrics paint a melancholy picture. Radio's intimacy fading as polished visuals seize the audience's imagination. Horn's ethereal vocal style and the futuristic production made it feel like a transmission from pop's imminent future. The world was captivated. The song reached number 1 in 16 countries, including the UK, Australia, and Japan. In the US, it charted more modestly, but still became a cult favorite and a symbol of media evolution. Its legacy is more than chart success. It signaled the dawn of the music video era. Horn later became one of the most influential producers in pop history, working with Yes, Seal, and Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
What did you tell him?
9. Dancin' Shoes by Nigel Olsson.
Many long conversations. And no.
Nigel Olsson spent years behind Elton John's kit, steady, reliable, the heartbeat of one of rock's biggest stars. But in 1979, he stepped out from behind the drums and into the spotlight with Dancin' Shoes. Written by Carl Story and produced by Paul Davis, the track blends soft rock warmth with disco-tinged rhythm.
Too many long conversations.
Its lyrics offered escape, a simple yearning to lose life's problems under spinning lights. Olsson's voice is smooth and unhurried, as if nudging listeners toward that dance floor rather than dragging them. The song resonated strongly. Dancin' Shoes reached number 18 on the Billboard Hot 100 and climbed to number 8 on the Billboard Adult Contemporary chart, proving audiences were willing to trust the drummer with center stage. Though Olsson never repeated the hit, it stands as proof that even supporting musicians sometimes get their moment in the sun, or in this case, under the disco ball. 10. Born to Be Alive by Patrick Hernandez. If disco had a motivational poster, it would read, "Born to Be Alive." French musician Patrick Hernandez released the song in late 1978, but it became a defining global hit in 1979. With its fast tempo, triumphant refrain, and pulsating beat, it became an instant celebration. A declaration that life was not merely to be lived, but danced through. The track first landed on the Billboard National Disco Action Chart, where it soared to number 1. Internationally, it earned gold and platinum certifications across Europe and South America, becoming one of the most commercially successful European disco exports. Hernandez's performances were theatrical and aspirational, and one of his live tour backup dancers was a rising unsigned talent named Madonna, who would soon reshape pop music entirely. Though Hernandez never replicated the single's success, Born to Be Alive refuses to fade. It remains one of the most licensed disco tracks globally, appearing in commercials, film montages, sports arenas, and fitness culture. And with that, our journey through 1979's momentary stars concludes. These weren't just songs. They were flashbulb memories, snapshots of a musical year when disco was peaking, pop was transforming, and radio was about to face its biggest challenge: